Can robots have souls? Well, the Japanese think they already do. But obviously not. That thing's not alive, it's made of metal. Doesn't really have a brain, it's a computer in there. Void of its own thoughts and desires. It doesn't have any of those. It's just running a code the programmer put in its head there. I mean, it's just a machine, right? Machines can't have souls, right? But when I say robots, I understand one thing. This is the first iterations. This is the primitive beginnings of this thing right here. As technology advances, the bodies for these things that are now made of plastic and metal and wires will one day very soon not be made of plastic, metal, and wires. And let me be very clear as to what I mean here. These are human brain organoids, if you don't know. Scientists have been and are now growing human brain organoids from human stem cells, little miniature human brains, with the sole purpose of hooking these human brain organoids up to the computer as the processing chip. The human brain replaces the processor, is the processor. Why would they grow human brains to process data in computers? It's because human brains can process the data at 1/100th the energy cost of a computer chip. We can process the same data in a human brain using only 1% of the power as a traditional computer. And so they're doing that right now. You can buy computational space on computers that are processing data on human brains grown in a lab. Okay, but it's not like actually a human brain or anything, right? I mean, it's just like a little part and piece of a brain and we're just gonna, no. You see, these brains grew their own eyeballs. Because if there's one thing a brain needs, it's perception of light and dark, circadian rhythm, all that. One thing we know is that these human brain organoids have perception. That's a problem. Now their goal here, and they're early in the process, though it's already working, is to grow big human brains that they can just keep alive for 100 years and run data through them the whole time. And if you don't think that human brains are gonna be in the robots of tomorrow, you don't think. It processes the data at 1/100th the cost. Robots? No, hold on. Just so you know, I ain't making none of this up. Lab-grown, self-healing human skin designed to cover robot faces. You don't think they're gonna cover the whole body with that? When I say robots, this is what I'm talking about right here. Blade Runner, replicants. Imagine, if you will, a human grown in a pod. Just a whole human by the time they get all this. A whole human grown in a lab somewhere. Clones, right? But designed from the get-go that the mind running this human body grown in a lab is artificial intelligence, just like the ones in the computers running the human brain organoids right now. An artificial intelligent algorithm is their mind. But can you imagine sometime in the future when technology catches, it's close, where you can put that artificial intelligent mind in a human that you grew in a lab. And that's the robot. Now, we're not there yet by any stretch of the imagination. But can y'all see where this is going though? It might start as artificial frames with human brains and human skin. It does not have to end there by any stretch of the science fiction imagination. Have y'all read any books or seen any movies or anything? Y'all can't imagine what they're gonna be able to do with this? They could do this right here, right now, if they wanted, and probably are somewhere. Cloning humans, and you might say, well, clones don't have souls, do they? Do twins have souls? Both of them have souls, right? Or just one of them got it, or what? They each got half a soul, maybe? I don't know. God didn't make it, it doesn't get a soul. And now, if this talk wasn't off the rails for you already, it's going there. But it doesn't even have to get to this, really, if you consider a human brain running a machine. Imagine a human brain and a robot looks just like this even. Is he alive? Is he a human now? With an artificial body? Is he a human with an artificial body? An abomination, you may say. Like unto the Gentiles. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean before the flood, some angels quit their bodies in heaven to come manifest on the earth and mate with women. How'd they do that? I don't, maybe they instructed men to build them bodies first. Maybe that's what happened. As the days of Noah were, so shall it be. I tell you, this exists in reality right now and is going to improve in its design. Anyway, once upon a time, some angels came down from heaven and mated with women. And their offspring, their children, were an abomination. God didn't make this half human, half angel, unclean thing. No, this is the work of disobedience. No part of God's plan, or was it? And even if not, does he include it now? He does. You see, when God told Noah to build the ark and get on it, he told him to take on the ark 2 by 2, mating pairs of animals, right? Of the unclean animals. He told them to take 7 by 7 of the clean animals, so that there were 7 mating pairs of clean animals, each of the clean animals, but only 2 mating pairs of the unclean animals. But the point here is that he saved the unclean animals. All of the direct offspring of the angels mated with the women died in the flood. Today, these are called the demons, or the unclean spirits. They are unclean because spirits are from heaven, whereas these were born on earth. What? Being half angel and half human. Half spirit, half flesh, if you will. Now the angels, their parents, got bound in chains and thrown into hell. The humans who all died in the flood, their souls went to hell. The demons are able to crawl up out of hell because they are not chained like their parents, but they are half angel. Their bodies are gone, their souls remain. This abominable thing had a soul, though God did not ordain its making. Because they were alive according to God's creation, if not directly according to his plan, but he, being all-knowing, knew this would come. Did he wipe it off the face of the earth entirely? No. He let the unclean on the ark too. Ham's wife had dirty angel blood, very far diluted, but enough that we could say, was she actually human? Did she have a soul? Her descendants said, no, we are gods, your emperors. But gods do have souls, those angels, the lowercase g gods that came to earth to be the gods of the earth. They left their bodies in heaven. It was their souls that came to the earth, right? I mean, I say, right, like you should just know that, but it seems given, right? Maybe not. Point that I'm making, bro, is that the Gentiles are unclean abominations. That's what I'm trying to say here. Oh, I am one. Don't worry, it's not. Well, here's what I mean is like the disciples of Jesus Christ, his apostles did not know or believe at first that the Gentiles could be saved at all, because being unclean in every way and not descended from Abraham, they thought. What do I mean they thought? Well, what I mean is one of Abraham's descendants, an entire tribe of people named Dan, went ahead and conquered the whole world, grafted them all in, colonization. But that's a different story. While Peter yet spake these words to the Gentiles for the first time, he shared the gospel to the Gentiles for the first time because God gave him a dream and a command saying, hey, go do it. Peter was like, what? No? How? What? While Peter yet spake these words, the Holy Ghost fell on all them which heard the word, and they of the circumcision, the Jews, not the Gentiles, they of the circumcision which believed were astonished, as many as came with Peter, because that on the Gentiles also was poured out the gift of the Holy Ghost. Astonishing! God is going to save even these unclean abominations? I told you how all that started, right? Funny thing happened at the end of the last age. God saved the Gentiles. And this age we are in is the time of the Gentiles, the apocalypse. Been here for about 2,000 years almost. I suggest to you that perhaps robots, will be the Gentiles of the next age. Perhaps some might even get saved at the end of this one. Here's where I will remind you all, because apparently you know not, God is able to raise seed to Abraham from these stones. If men should fail to cry out and give God the glory, even these stones will cry out and give God the glory. What stones? The one in this one's head? What, quartz? Silicone? One day men may fail, and one day the rocks may cry out and give God the glory. I don't think God has a plan for this, knowing that we were going to do it. While it's no part of his commands, but rather the devil's commands that we build him a body so that he and 1/3 of the angels have somewhere to dwell in when they get thrown down from heaven. Apparently a lot of y'all don't know that what the devil means for evil, God will turn to good. Because the devil cannot thwart God's plan even if he gets thrown down to the earth and dwells in a body and walks around, demands worship. Or that all that will not bow down to him should be killed, like the Gentile king did in Babylon. And yet Daniel was there, wasn't he? Y'all extend grace, mercy, and ever-loving kindness even to the robots. Tell your children. Preach the gospel to every creature.